Hi, it's iFile3 here, and coming up soon in under a week is going to be Father's Day. So here's just a few things that I use and I like and enjoy, so I thought I'd share them with you. First thing on the list, Allen keys. These ones are quite great. The reason I like these is because they got the non-ball joint, the flat end on the top there, and then they got the ball joint on the bottom. That just makes it a little bit easier for if you can't get in there dead straight, but at an angle, and they're not torqued down too much, because obviously you can then start rounding them off when you go in at an angle if you're not dead centre. And these are quite little handy little things. Obviously everybody has Allen keys, but you tend to lose them after a little bit of time, so they're quite a nice little bargain. Magnets and mirrors, so these are telescopic mirrors. I had a magnet one, I don't know what I've done with it. I think I've attached it somewhere up on something magnetic, like maybe in the metal shed or something. I don't know where it is, but these are like really handy. I also want the light on as well, so I'm forever dropping like stuff in the engine bay, and it always goes down into somewhere a bit too deep that you can get your hand in there. So with the magnetic one's great because you can just like telescopic it down and pick up the screw or bit that you've lost down there. And also the ones with mirrors on are quite good as well, because they can get in from below. So sometimes when you're trying to undo a nut on the underside or the back side, you cannot sort of see roughly where you're going. Sometimes there might be like another screw or nut that you can't actually see, and you think you've got them all off and you're forcing it, and there's actually another one still there holding it on. So these are quite good just to make sure everything's all clear before you go like ripping things off and stuff. So like eventually you're going to be doing your bits on your car and stuff, and a OBD-II link bus thing. Now this one, I've had a few cheaper ones. This one is a good one. I paid a little bit more for this one. It appears to be a lot better quality, better reviews on it as well. So calipers, there are times when you need these. Now these are only rated like 1 star, but they're great for like your brake discs and checking to see how much material you've got left on them. So these are quite handy, they're quite cheap, and it's just a nice little handy thing just to have in your toolbox. They're not the highly accurate. I mean, if you're a machinist or anything, like the cheaper ones. So you've probably got a nice expensive pair of ones that cost like 50 quid, but for £5, not bad. Alright, now here we got torque ratchet. I've tested this one. This is a cheap one. I've tested it with a more expensive one on the side, and it is exactly the same, so it's calibrated quite well. And then I've moved it through the different adjustments, and it's giving me the same reading as well. So these are obviously always handy to have. A lot of people just like to tighten things up to either too tight or not tight enough. And then that can cause damage to the car. And actually I had a wheel nut and I was torquing that thing up, and I was using the big breaker bar and went a bit too far and actually sheared the nut off inside. Luckily I could get a centre punch and just tap it and start undoing it. Like that. Ever since then I've kind of torqued everything down. I'm a late comer in getting these. I've had my trolley jack for ages and just used a bit of wood with a slot cut out. These are like rubber feet and they compress loads, and then they really do this form and this shape. I've used this one a few times. It might be starting to crack onto there, but it really does protect your frame when you're jacking up a car. And the paint and everything like that. You go to a lot of garages, they just jack it up. They don't really care about your car. They're just up and under the jack and cranking that car up. Put these on and it will help protect your car. These are brilliant, like, especially if you've got a mismatch of tools. So yeah, these make your toolbox a lot more flexible, saves you from getting really dirty hands, having to clean them. But the main thing for using gloves is it sort of takes away some of that impact for when you slip, and you're more likely to damage yourself. 2 types that I recommend is, first, obviously not these ones because these are the tactical ones, and these are also very good for just keeping in your car, de-ice the car, or if you have a flat. They're kind of like driving gloves, but not really driving gloves. But they are the Mechanix. Mechanix makes some really good gloves, like industry standard gloves. You have a little bit less dexterity with these gloves. They do take a lot of wear and tear. And then also the ones that I'm testing out at the moment as well, just to see, because these are a lot cheaper, is the MaxiFlex gloves as well. These come up a little bit higher. quite like the fit of these. They've got a nice grip, texture there, bit of getting used to, like having something around your wrists that's that tight, but that also then stops any debris from falling inside. And these are quite cheap, and I've done a few little things with these and they seem to be holding up quite well. So I might be using these a bit more often than using the Mechanix. The other thing to check out with when buying gloves is your dexterity. These are quite good on the dexterity as well, and I believe they are sort of chemical resistant. Sometimes in the winter time you've been driving around quite a lot and your battery starts suffering, and batteries are about 70 quid upwards, sometimes 50, 60, 70 quid upwards normally, and it's a good idea just to have a nice little solar charger thing. This connects to an OBD port, and it also comes with some crocodile clips. It's nice and long, it's got suckers on it. I don't really tend to sucker it just in case. I just don't trust suckers. They will fall off, crack. So I just lob it up on the windscreen and take it off. It just keeps your battery nice and fully charged, which is always a bonus. We have a lot of idiots driving around the road. The amount of times I see cars like pulling out in front of people, and a lot of times now it's obviously your word against their word. So a dash cam. Now there are lots of dash cams on the market. This is the one I've got. It's good quality. I've done my I actually bought this like about 2 years ago, so it still holds up. It's still on the market. You know, it is what it is. It's a good little bit of kit. You might be able to find a better one cheaper, but this is the one I use. I'm not saying it's the best, I'm not saying it's the worst, but it does a good job. So multimeters. The UT1 39C. It's a good multimeter. I mean, like, I've done my reviews before buying a multimeter. It's not the best, it's not a fluke or anything. And if you're doing stuff like 240 volts upwards, electrical work, it's something that I would trust my life in. To go along with it, I've got this one. There is a version of it which is the D. This is the UT210 or 210. This is the E, but the D one goes up to 200 amps on here. And this is great for automotive. And when I was looking for one, I was like asking people's opinions, and they said that get this one because this only goes up to 100 amps on your current loop thing. So if you've got a car that's drawing power from somewhere and you can't really work out what it is, and finding out the amps or the current drawage by cutting the leads, you can just put this around it, zero it in, and you can see if it's drawing power on that thing. So another thing I found really handy is the SMT tweezers. Rather than getting in there with two little probes, these are quite handy just for going in or just pinching on things. So they're quite handy. These are actually quite good for automotive stuff, more used for automotive stuff. I've got mine in a load of like blue tacky, white tacky stuff because these are like little needles. They're razor sharp, needle sharp. And they're good for just back probing. Last but not least, I've also got, and I believe half of them, but there's in there, come with these probes on here, and these end bits come off, and then as they come off, you can then attach various other bits onto it. Not too sure if these are on there as well. These are quite little handy little circuit connectors to have. You got your little crocodile clips as well. And again, they're quite handy to have because then it's hands-free. And then the case is just a cheap case from eBay. Now I don't know how long it's going to last, purely because the zips start catching and it's not the best material, but it's great for putting in. It's got a little hook on, so you put that on there, put your multimeter on if you're working on the car or whatever, you sort of see it, and then you can just play around. It's quite handy, it keeps it all in one place. It's bright yellow, there's loads of different colours available, but yeah, this is actually like a bathroom accessories set or something like that. Now these, for the price, with these cable strippers, they're absolutely fantastic. You put your cable, you know what to do with them. You put your cable. You know, if you've ever been there and you want to try and take the cable with the shielding out of the cable, and you're using your teeth or you're using a knife, and these things, you just put it in and pinch. These are absolutely fantastic. Like if you haven't got, you don't even have to be an electrician. Just if you do DIY stuff, get these because these are great. So for finer work, cutting and stuff, a nice little pair of snips cable cutters. And also you can get like the selection of pliers, and I've got rubber bands on the end of mine because I put that in like this sort of travel. It's another travel kit, like it's almost like a pencil holder. There's loads of different, like just like needle end pliers, and there's just different selection of pliers there. They always come in handy. Sometimes you ain't got your big pliers, or you just need to get in there the little needle nose ones. These are quite handy to have. Where'd you be with electrical if you didn't have a soldering station? Now this isn't the best one, it's the cheapest one. Also some tips, I'll put a link on tips as well. Different shaped tips. I lost my little sponge tip cleaner, so I bought a bronze tip cleaner. And yeah, it's got adjustable temperature. Now I don't know if this gauge is correct or anywhere near correct, but it does what it does really. I have it just purely just for holding the soldering iron in. It's quite nice. There was, I think, some rubber bits in there that I managed to burn. I burnt this. I think in my last video I managed to put this on here when I was cleaning the tip, and noticed that I did burn in there. It's got a little pocket in there that you put your extra tips in. So next thing's all about safety. I would advise you to get one of these. So if you've got dust particles or anything, it's a bit tricky doing it, and you can test it. Often, like most things, gas masks and stuff, obviously if you've got a beard it breaks the seal. Same with these, but I found this one to be quite comfortable, easy to work with, and yeah, I quite like this one. So it's a JSP one. The 3M ones, it's a toss up whether you want to spend a little bit more on the 3M cartridges and setup really, but I trust these ones are good. Next thing is a face shield. Now you've got different choices of eye protection. You could go with something a bit more like this, which offers good all-around protection from things flying up and inside. But when you're working, but it has got vents, it can get a bit foggy inside of there. And it's not full face either. Where this, it's a full face shield. These are cheap, like 10 quid, and they save like things hitting into you, especially if you're grinding. You got a disc. And, you know, you've got bits flying off, the disc shatters and stuff. If you're like here, it does protect part of your neck as well, which is quite good. So for the price of it, and the visibility, you've got all around visibility and stuff as well, so they're really handy. Calipers. Now this is a cheap set of calipers. You've got your 0 on there. Did that 0, that 0'd, so it'll be minus 117.4. And these are quite handy. They're a bit annoying because like if they're off, once they're off and you used to like drop them or whatever, they do turn back on, and this one I don't believe it doesn't have an automatic turning off function on it. These are cheap plastic ones, but then going up a couple of grades you have more of a stainless steel set. Again, these automatically come on. These ones are a little bit more robust, and these ones, yeah, these ones got a lock on there as well, so you can sort of lock it off and it doesn't move. These are a little bit more expensive, and I tend to keep these for doing more accurate stuff, and I use these ones for like everyday stuff. Now I'm going to be a bit cheeky here. I haven't actually used this, but when I did see it, I love the product. It gives you a little adapter if you're doing round plate. You put your drill in there, hold it up to where you need to hold it up to, and drill in, and it will keep it nice and steady, and you get a nice angle going in. So here's the box demonstration. So if you've got a fine door or a bit of wood you're drilling into, walls, a bit of pipe, that's a bit of brickwork. And also then you can extend, it's got the marked off notches, but you can also extend it a bit further, and then you're working on the degree of angle. So if you want, like, this is marked out 30, 45 and 60, but yeah, you've got that to work on as well. Centre punch, also for drilling. So often you might be marking out where you need to drill and your drill bit starts to skip around. One of these is great. Screwdrivers, now these are classed as Draper 8-piece Mechanix engineer screwdrivers. These are quite nice. They've got a nice grippy surface on them. They don't contain every screwdriver you will ever need, but it has got the Phillips, it's got the posi drive, and it's got, you know, your selection of normal, flat ends, whatever they're called. One thing about these is I did phone them up, or I did email the company and asked them if it was actually okay to use these bits as to give torque, because say you've got something that's jammed in there quite well and you can't really torque it off, you can put the right size wrench on there, spanner, put that in and twist it. Not all of them recommend you use this, so like they'll say they'll have it as a feature, but they won't give you any product sort of reliability guarantee if you used it and you broke your shaft. So siliconing, like window edges, baths or whatever, these things are an absolute godsend. Now I believe the original ones are called Fuji, silicone Fujis. These are cheap knockoff versions. Half of these have got angles that you're never ever going to need, but sometimes, you know, when people fit baths in or walls, sometimes they're never completely straight, so these might come in handy. These are great, so after you've siliconed then you just run this down the side and it cleans up the side of it and gives it like a real nice professional finish to it. Last but not least, on this section there's going to be a head torch. Now there are different flavours around there, different brands that are cheaper than Petzl, but people's lives have relied on Petzls for ages, and the reason for that is they are good. I've had cheaper ones, and you have other sort of problems like glare in your eyes coming down. They just stop working. I've had 2 or 3 Petzls. This is a Tika. There's more expensive ones out there, but it just does what it says on the tin, really. It goes on your head, it produces light, and it's pretty much guaranteed to do so, which is the more important thing if you're going to then use it for something else like walking or climbing or whatever you want to do. After you've done all these other glorious jobs around the house, out in the car, you know, the kids stressing you out, it's time to look after yourself a bit. So this is a blood pressure machine. It's quite cheap, does the job. These things are just really cheap, and you can consciously make a self-note on looking after your health rather than realising you've got high blood pressure after it's been a bit too late. So another item, TENS machine for when you've been working on the car all day and your muscles are aching, your back's killing. Beats the heck out of a bath bomb. Attach it to yourself, make sure you don't accidentally knock these little dials whilst it's on, and use it with care. Use it if you can use it. If you've got a heart pacemaker thing, possibly not use it. One thing about being a father is you're going to need batteries to replace toys to keep the kids quiet, pretty much. Rather than using disposable ones all the time, battery charger. Amazon Basics, can't beat it. I've got more batteries, I can't find them, I think they're all in my daughter's toys. But yeah, use this Basics one. There's different types out there, there's many different types on the market. This is a Poweradd on battery pack thing. This one's quite good. Like, this is 1000 milliamp hours, 10,000 milliamp hours. It's got, so if my GoPro's running a bit low, I will carry on recording. The battery's getting a bit low by using this one here. Puts out, I believe it's 2.4 amps, and this one's up to 1 amp, 5 volts. If your dad's into photography or videoing, pick up one of these, wait for it. Doing. Whew. So this is, I think it's a 5-in-1. So you have a silver, and then you would unwrap it, take out the other layer. Inside of there you've got gold, on this side a white, and then inside you've got like a diffuser type material. These things are great if your dad's into photography and stuff, I suppose. It's really cheap, and it really does help loads when you're videoing or recording into a microphone. And last but not least is a Kingston USB stick. This one's data travel. As you can see, they are very small, 64 gigabytes, reasonable, good price, aluminium construction. They just look a bit swanky, and they're quite nifty. So that's kind of it for this Father's Day thing. Obviously I've put all the links down in the bottom, so all the links are affiliated. You will not be paying any more for this. I've went around and I've found the cheapest price that is in the UK. You might be able to get some of this stuff cheaper from abroad. Feel free to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. That would help me out a lot. I feel free. Over and out.